that you want to show?
Well, games one and
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a chess show on Po TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today we have guests. We'll start with Professor Ken Regan.
yes, welcome from thank you for having me on. I'm in New Jersey.
Okay,
Visiting my brother
very
and
good.
sister family.
So we have today also Professor Dan Fleetwood. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Mm,
Hi, Sasha. Hi, Ken. I'm in Brentwood, Tennessee today.
mm.
Wow, everybody is in different places. Well, of course, I'm in Toronto, Canada. And also we have someone from California, Jim Eat from Eat Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you,
Yes.
Sasha. I'm in Sonoma, California. In
So we
wine
cover
country.
all North America today. So World Championship is underway, being held
Yeah.
in Singapore, and it's spectacularly organized. And the pictures that we've seen, they're second to none. And the most interesting is to see the actual game. Let's start with game one, which was played
That's
on
right.
Monday.
The match got off to a bang, and actually with a surprise of sorts already on move one. So let me present. I'll present a. Let's see, share screen, and let's go through all this. And okay, so I'm going to try sharing just a tab first. So
Okay,
you should see game one. Let me know when you see it.
not yet.
There we
Yes,
So
go.
the
Here.
it's there.
Yep. Yes. So the surprise was Ding Liren drawing the black pieces for the first game of the match, played the French defense.
In World Championship play,
Yep.
I'm a French player too, so
So I want to pose a question for Dan. Is the ranked below the Caro Khan on Alpha Zero's list of viable openings for black?
So each is viable, but there are only a few lines. Well, I shouldn't say only a few lines. Black has to be really, really careful because but Black is a lot closer to the edge in the critical lines of the Caro and the French. But there are viable lines in both lines, or there are viable lines in both openings that Black can play and draw against the strongest computers. Yeah.
Okay. I remember Larry Kaufman writing an article about that as well. But anyways, here we go. So standard line.
So this
And
is
then it gets
actually one. Yeah, this is actually one of the lines that in correspondence chess can lead to wins for white if black just makes a single misstep in the late opening, early middle game. So up until about Stockfish 14 or so, there were chances for someone who, let's say, really knew how to an engine to exploit that. In later versions of Stockfish, though, it calculates super, super accurately. And so the line that we're going to see in this game is one that is right on that razor edge. This is a really fascinating game that you've chosen.
yeah. So
very
so
interesting.
yep. So black, of course, reacts in the center to the wing advance, and white is going to build now a very broad, powerful center. Knights on e2. That's going to be a theme with Gukesh, and then the third game as well. Okay. So now for another amazing move. Not yet. I'm sorry.
Yeah, C3 is
A few moves from now. Okay. So now this is also just interesting. Black merely stakes out space. Nothing fast is going to happen in the center.
right.
So black, pairs
How
the
is this so far, Dan? Is this would the computers recommend the A5, A4 maneuver?
This is one of those lines where you have to look really, really deeply. So in a position like this, you're not going to get the truth until maybe something like 65 or 70 ply. So
Wow.
whatever you see over in the kind of the, what are they running there? stockfish 16, like 30 ply or something like that. We're not going to be able to rely on that. These are sharp lines where it's going to toggle between even and about half a pawn advantage for white. And I don't know what the truth is. I would have to run this for days.
Yes. Now, the computer's top 3 suggestions in this window are knight g3, rook b1, and h4. However, Gukesh played none of these. Preparation, g4.
Wow.
Leaving no doubt that we're doing a wing attack. However, it may be ineffective. Now, again, Ding Liren, after considerable thought, played a move that actually took Gukesh out of his preparation, if I recall correctly. So black can castle, black can play b5, black can play f6. There are 3 very disparate moves for black that the computer Stockfish 16, at least running to this lower depth, likes. But Ding Liren played none of them. Played queen a5, whose main purpose is to exert pressure on the center, stake out some more space on the queen side, and temporarily, at least, inconvenience white's ability to maintain the center, because white's c.
Oh, Ken just froze. So it's a problem in hotel rooms.
Yeah, one of the things that I'll say here until Ken unfreezes is that if white continues with his normal plan of queen to d2, he gets a nasty surprise after the exchange on d4, and a potential bishop to b4 is just really, really strong.
Mm-hmm. I'm back, I guess. Okay, so I guess.
Yeah, queen d2 would have been the normal kind of response.
Yeah, that would be the normal play if without without the a5 and the queen a5.
Right, right.
I'd like to ask you a question. I don't play this type of position, but I'm wondering, so black is trying to prevent white for taking on d4 in case of exchange with a pawn. So to commit white to take it with a piece, but they could do it as early as on move 4 or 5, and when they played c5, they could immediately take d4 before white played knight e2 and c3. So or they could
that's a drawish line that's kind of like the advanced French then.
Yeah, I kind of like I think white wants to recapture with a piece on d4.
Okay. Anyway, Ken, we were talking about what kind of trouble white can get himself into if he just plays the normal queen d2 here in this particular line. The tactics,
right,
I think, very much favor black.
Yeah, bishop b4 and other things. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep. So now black softens white up some more.
Yeah.
And, so, okay, why is it? Yep, reply b4.
It's not the way I used to play this position, but it's very interesting to me.
Yeah. Now knight takes on d4.
So now you have an outpost on d4 to support f5.
Right.
Ideally,
But black has the good square on c4, which I never liked.
Exactly.
Black control of in the French. So
this is what the advance of the a pawn is forced this weakness on, and so it gives black some counterplay.
Yeah, and it's that pawn on a3 that sometimes gives engines problems, because it's going to be a bone in white's throat, but if white handles it correctly, sometimes in an endgame, he'll just walk over, capture that pawn, and win the endgame. Yes. So, but this is yet another place where the gods have put the middle game between the opening and the ending.
Yeah. Now for what some have tabbed as the key juncture. Black captures on d4, and the question is, how shall white recapture?
All right.
And I have to say that bishop takes d4 looks attractive to me, because I like my knight on f3.
I think it's a very natural move. You place bishop in a very strong protected square. You're defending c3 pawn, which is probably the only white's weakness. And I really don't see why not.
I would capture with the knight only because the outpost on d4 it is so. As I've been on the black side of it so many times when that knight on d4 has given me so much trouble. Supporting the advance on f5 and really cramping my position. So it's the only because actually bishop takes is very normal, but I have suffered from knight takes.
Yeah, I like the knight capture better too.
Yeah. So the story is the knight capture has a tactical flaw 5 moves later.
Really?
Wow. Did not see. So Gukesh did capture with the knight. Now the computer can tell that black is fine, and rook c8 might have been a less critical line, but here we go. Knight b2, queen e3. Now this is continuing, defending c3, continuing the intended aggression. So maybe rook c8 would have transposed into this. Here comes black's queen, trying to filter into white's position. Now white begins his attack. Black is going to defend.
Yes.
And Gukesh on this move was thinking that he could play queen f4. And this would be solidifying the attack. And what he overlooked is that black has the very strong move g5, which will either force off the queens or actually open lines to black's advantage.
That is fascinating.
I would have never thought that was coming.
Me either.
You wouldn't. I mean, looks like you can get mated down the f5.
Exactly.
But and surprisingly, black does not capture with either pawn in this position. Instead, the queen just sticks like tacky glue on g6. It can't be dislodged. And now h5.
Yeah.
And bishop d5, g5 is an immediate threat.
Right.
So
knight
I think
d3 is immediate.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually think this calls the whole g4, and this is where maybe Gukesh got, let's say, led down a garden path by his by not running computer lines out far enough when he was doing his prep. So,
yeah, it's amazing to think that that's so important.
Yeah, because humans, G5 is not something that I would have thought of, I think.
No, never.
Yeah. So anyway, so white jumps from frying pan to fire with the very passive retreat queen e1. Now this is just giving black everything for free.
White's desperate to find moves that hold temporarily.
Yeah. So now black occupies more squares. We're occupying 4 squares on white's queen side here. And now it's 5 squares in white's territory. This is not supposed to happen in the first 25 moves of a French.
Looks like it's
Yep. So white grovels. I mean, black was threatening rook takes d4. So white now sheds a pawn. At least white gets a little bit of play, but white So being able to trade off black's bishop is big, even at the cost of another pawn. But now here's where white made, I think this is where white made another really inexplicable move. I mean, as long as you're playing va bank and don't care about losing all your pawns, of course you want to trap black's king in the center.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yep.
Now, there is a funny tactic worth mentioning here. So black should, of course, eat a pawn. And then I think Ding said he didn't see this, but it isn't but of course it was Gukesh who didn't play this line. So white could play queen takes h7, and now I should read the computer screen. What's black's only surviving but winning response to this move?
No way.
Yes.
Gotta play. No, you can't play queen h5. Oh, wow.
Queen d4.
Queen d4.
Queen d4 check. So if white's bishop takes it, then black can take white's.
Well done, guys. Yeah.
Black's knight is protected on b2. And if white moves the king, well, if white plays rook f2, you could.
Queen take. No. Yeah, what happens if you play king h1?
Queen h4.
Yeah. Yeah, because the rook's guarding the queen. That's just really pretty.
Good job. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow. I kind of feel sorry for white.
Well, once again, it's. Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, black probably has to still play very accurately in this position.
Yep.
Sure, but once you find the winning moves, it's all over, right?
Yeah. So
It's,
white played queen c2 first, but that allowed black to oppose it. And then when white moved, now black's king is safe. So this was just a bit
lights
silly.
out. Wow.
So now
So-
white, yeah.
Would we chalk this up to opening preparation? Ding's was superior.
Well, enterprise. I don't know if it was Ding's prep. Ding was just more enterprising.
Yeah, if you looked at kind of Ding's time management, he was thinking hard the whole way. So
I see.
Yeah.
I think he found most of this over the board. It was a really nice performance.
I agree. I agree. Very impressive. Now I wonder if you played just like Queen D3 here, or just
What about knight G3?
Well, yeah, Knight D3's got a
Yeah.
sting to it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's one more nice little tactic. Now, black has this under control, shall we say. There are multiple ways black could have won. I think taking on G2 would have been easier last. Oh, no, the queen E1 mate, E8 mate. So I couldn't take on G2. So white still has a little bit of play here.
Yeah.
Okay, so now there's one more trick in this position.
There has to be with the two bishops and queen. Yes.
Yeah. So the trick is not to play king h7, because then queen takes e4.
Yep.
Oh, those backward
Against
moves
your
by
queen.
bishop.
I know. I wish I could say I haven't fallen for that, but I have.
Yeah. So Ding
Yeah.
played king h8 and Gukesh resigned because queen takes e4 now doesn't work because of queen f2 check.
How nice.
So a nice win by.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's kind of the inverse of game 3, huh?
well, that's right. So game 3.
Okay.
Really well. So game 3 is another case of enterprise by black that easily could have worked out better for Ding, but did not. So game 2 was a steadying draw for Gukesh, a very uneventful draw. I would say the same about today's game 4, but game 3 had more fireworks. So now Ding Liren is again black, and there are a few little similarities, except that Gukesh opened d4, and watch black's clock when I press the button. So Ding Liren thought.
We don't see the diagram yet.
Yes. Oh, you don't see the diagram yet. Okay. Let's see. Coming now.
Still waiting.
So
Still waiting.
still waiting. Okay, let me try stop sharing and then re-clicking it. Okay. So let's see. Set present share screen. Maybe. Okay. I needed to do it from the beginning. Okay. So
we're still not seeing it.
oh, actually, yours. And now I shared the wrong tab. Okay. Let me go back again.
This got me promoted as a systems programmer to tell people to bring it down and back up.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is the right one. Okay. So anyway, so Ding Liren is black.
Still not
there.
there.
Okay. Well, so white played d4.
You can't see what you're seeing, Ken.
Okay,
We don't see it.
You don't see it. I know. I'm trying to talk patter over this for a moment.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, we can't hear you either.
Yeah, it's the hotel room. My Wi-Fi is also weak, so I thought I would have this trouble too. I seem to be okay, but Ken's having some trouble.
So that would explain it. All right, let me try one more time.
Okay.
Anyway, so Gukesh mini surprised by playing d4. Okay, one more time here.
Afraid of the French defense. That's a first.
Yeah, let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to share the tab again. d4 played by white, and then
One time, John Fedorovich told me that the French was losing, so we played a series of blitz games, and then he reverted to d4.
But black can still play e6 on d4.
I do often.
Yes,
Yeah.
In a worst scenario, we will have Dutch defense, which is not so bad.
so
Or they
still,
go into the Nimzo if they're playing the c4. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So this anyway is a classic Queen's Gambit exchange variation. Are you seeing the board yet?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay. All right, let me try sharing my whole screen then. Okay, this is very frustrating. Let me try the whole screen share.
Yeah, we really appreciate your efforts, Ken, because showing us the games has really been, motivating for me to come and join you. So it's fascinating, Dan, that you've run these so deeply in these opening lines, and that's the only way you can compete at correspondence chess now. Isn't that correct?
Well, I mean, if you don't want to lose,
If I-
it's,
You
I
said
mean,
something,
the-
but I missed it. It's
the
definitely a
engines
fault
are
of
just
the
they're
hotel
just so ridiculously strong that
Yeah.
it's.
Yes. So okay, so now I'm sharing my entire screen. So okay, well I'll have to describe this in words then. So we play what starts as a classical Queen's Gambit, except that black fianchettos the king bishop. White has played Queen c2 and ding on move.
I'm not home either. I can't share my screen. I'm on a laptop. But
Maybe I can try to share mine.
The queen to b3.
Sure.
Ken,
Let's try.
let me see if I can share my screen.
Okay, I'll be on share then.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me
yeah, I'm
see
getting
if
a
mine will work.
reconnect, so I'm getting open. Okay.
Is that working?
I see nothing.
Yeah, I just see you. Yep. So,
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if. Let me try one more.
well, I'll continue my patter. The game, the queens came off at move 9, but already by move 9, Ding has used a full half hour on his first 9 moves. In fact, he used 15 minutes on deciding to capture White's queen and give White the open A file and double B pawns. And then
I know the type of opening you're talking about. Yeah.
And then in a very fateful decision, he sunk his bishop on c2, attacking White's b pawn and forcing White to first counterattack against Black's queen side, and after a diversion by Black on the king side, Black defended by moving the knight. White was threatening to capture on b8 and capture on a7 with his rook. So at this point, the computer thinks that Black is fully equalized.
Let's talk general if we can't see what we're talking about. Does Ding generally get into time trouble, or is this world pressure chess type of nerves, or
It's said to be nerves. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I can only imagine how strenuous this is, and Gukic is so young, to be fighting at this level. It's just amazing. But I did want to ask you guys' opinions while we're still looking to get the games up and visible. I remember when Kasparov declined to defend his championship, and there was a Karpov short match, which I had no interest in. And I sort of am a little bit more interested in this one, although I still feel like the absence of Magnus playing at the World Championship level severely detracts from its attraction as an event. But these are two relatively new championship caliber players, so which I know very little about.
Playing a chess 960 match, maybe diverting some attention in Singapore.
Yeah.
Okay, so screen sharing not working your end either?
No.
No, it evidently is. There seems to just be some glitch in the...
Blame it on the internet.
Well, that's a pity.
Yeah, I think I what's funny, maybe it's because I'm not logged in. I don't know, I was.
Oops. Okay, so we're gonna wait for it. But what do you guys think? Do you think this is seriously impaired in terms of reputations of these two players because Magnus is not competing?
That reminds me of a situation in 1993 when Kasparov and Short get out of FIDE organized matches, and FIDE instead promoted Karpov against Kamsky at the end of the day. They played their championship, and I think Karpov and Kamsky at that time were stronger players than today, Dinglisen and Gukesh. And even that was officially World FIDE Championship, and today we have World FIDE Championship. I see a lot of similarity between this situation and one that was 30 some years ago.
That's the way I feel. How about you, Dan?
Oh yeah. It's I don't know. It's just a strange situation. We've had several strange situations over the last. I mean, there was kind of a well-defined from like 1950 through like 1972, and that had its own problems, and it's just been kind of odd in different ways for the last 50 years or so.
Because we grew up on the candidates matches, and you really had the World Championship challenger had earned it, So, but as you say, the interzonals, qualifying and then having to win or finish high in those to advance further into the candidates matches. But that still seemed to be. But the problem is in those days they got paid in rubles. It's like So
there is that.
And now we see different types of competitions that are being organized. And even combinations of competitions, rapid, speed, blitz, rapid, and classical chess. So I kind of think more the merrier, but there still should be the World Championship match still should involve the strongest player.
But I think the way it is now, what's happening that this system of the individual World Championship, at least in classical chess, will be scrapped out in favor of tennis-like Grand Slams. And in tennis, you have number one, number two, and so on.
Sure.
But it's not based on individual, some kind of a pinnacle of all season.
There we go.
Okay, we got it now.
Now you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So this is the juncture of the match, of the game, where so I'll go back. This is where where Ding Liren made the correct but fateful decision to embed his bishop on c2. And after some diversions, white is threatening to capture on b8 and capture on a7 with his rook. Black creates a diversion on the king side, which has to be answered by getting white's rook out of a potential pin and supporting the pawn on g4. Now black defended the knight on b8, and white drew the knight back to defend the pawn on b3. But now black's bishop on c2 is actually trapped. I mean, it can escape to e4 momentarily, but then white is going to play f3 and truly trap it. However, black just stays calm because there are certain things that that black can do to counter what's going on. So, for instance,
he was threatening g5 to free up the bishop. Yeah.
Right, g5 to exactly to free up the bishop.
So this would have made a lot of sense to me.
So white plays g5 to prevent that, but now black has to put white around a little bit more. And, so right now, black's bishop is free to come out to f5. So this is perfectly fine. Black has reestablished the h5. But now f3, threatening to put a lid on the bishop.
Right.
Now black should just play knight g7 and then eventually bring the bishop back to f5. And black's game is actually fine because white's pawn structure is really gross. So so that would be, and in fact, that is what
looking at the pawn structure, white is losing. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we should play moves that so it's a matter of calculation. So I don't know. I would play bishop f5. Maybe that's too chicken. It probably loses a fair bit of the advantage. Or
a6.
So rook h5, strangely enough, is a bad move. It's a question of whether the computer sees it. Now the lid is closed on black's c2 bishop, but there's still ways to guard it. And apparently, it's a tactical point that black should play knight e6
That's
first.
what I was looking at. Those
to guard.
Yeah, because of, I guess the d pawn is loose.
All right.
Yeah.
Good point. All right.
Yep. So now rook c1, knight takes d4, bishop f2. Okay, so this is attacking the knight, and black guards the knight, and the point is that
Directly
now if white
the
takes the knight, then black takes back, and white's rook is going to have some bad moments. Although it's this is all really tricky. So let's see what happens if white captures and then plays rook g2.
Right. How does the bishop get out?
Well, I mean, the computer says that he can capture on b3, but I don't think anyone ever sees that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is at least white doesn't have the two bishops, and black will get a third pawn for the piece. So maybe this is decent. So there are all sorts of these considerations. Anyway, what Ding Liren overlooked was this very powerful move.
Oh, yeah.
But now look how white's pieces are. What? Yeah.
Another Gukesh knight e2.
Right.
Yes.
Another Gukesh knight e2 move in a key position, and knight f3 check is not mate, but white's pieces are all huddled around the king. It's like shogi away.
It's waiting to be smothered, but it can't be.
Yep.
Yeah. So this now is already winning for white. White. The main point is white is going to keep the two bishops, as well as winning a piece. So here we go. So this black doesn't even get a second pawn for this.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No, I mean there are some tactics. Black can try c5 or rook d8.
Yeah, this
but
is
now white's king just sidesteps that. There's no check. So Ding Liren thrashed about a little bit, but there's really no saving this position.
Right.
Once white regroups, chop some more wood. There you go. Gave up a pawn, but there's So black temporarily is 3 points for the piece, but now comes some more a really nice tactical point.
Yeah, this is what your point about the two bishops comes clear now.
That Gukesh had calculated. Okay, and this is where Dingerend fell on time. But white has a very strong tactic here, which is bishop takes f5, and if you take an h1, it's bishop takes d7 check. If you take with the pawn, then the rook on h5 holds. So this is resigns in any event.
Right.
So the match is tied at 2.
Yeah. Well.
So is this could be considered one of the weakest game in all history of the World Championships?
It's an ugly game.
Yeah, it is an ugly game, but you get the game comes to a tactical skirmish, and white outcalculated black.
Yeah. So and 92 retreating a piece is often a very strong move, and I didn't learn that right away. But the 92.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think these oversights or miscalculations are at the level of some that Nepomniachtchi made in his last match against Carlsen. I mean, he clearly was out of form in that match.
But the build-up of white f3 and e4 to isolate bishop, it was so obvious. I mean, any 1900 player probably would play at some point bishop f5 and would have very reasonable game, the knight e6 or bishop e6, knight f5. You control the game actually in this formation. So Ken, what do you think? What level in elo points both players demonstrated so far?
A little under, I would say.
Yeah.
So there's someone you can follow on Twitter named Mehmet Ismail, who has done similar work to my screening stage, I'd say, game value positions, but he's generally close in the ballpark, and he posts his data publicly, so you could follow him.
Excellent. Thanks for the tip.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll definitely see it. Well, in the meantime, the match continues, and we will definitely next week we'll look at newer games. And in the meantime, thank you very much for today's program. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week, same place, same time. Bye-bye, everybody.
My intrinsic rating formulas are public, and I haven't calculated them yet. Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks.